There is Kyle Petty, who is moving up nicely here in the early going. Moving backwards, I should say. And Jerry, what's the problem?
Well, they've already dodged one bullet today, Bob. In anxious moments with the defending champion of the Budweiser at the Glen. In the final inspection prior to going out for NASCAR inspection this morning, the crew discovered a problem with the rear-end gearing. Some discoloration. They had to change the gear hurriedly. Felix Sabates told me had they not found that problem, the car may not have lasted but a few laps. As to what the problem is right now, the crew is still talking to Kyle, and we'll get back with you.
It looked like when the car was going through turn 6 over there, Jerry, that it was bouncing awfully bad. My monitor is not perfect, but it looked like the car was just bouncing terribly over in turn 6.
Yeah, you wonder if he might have a shock problem or something, Denny. I don't know. We'll keep our eyes on.
Kyle Petty, however, is one of the exceptions as he comes in to try to find out what is wrong with that car. Jerry, he's coming toward you.
We saw Kyle Petty losing spots lap after lap here in the early part of the race, and apparently the problem is that he has a sputter or a miss in the engine. Now, Kyle is hoping that it's a plug wire off, that he has a spark plug wire off the car. That's the problem, but they don't know. It's very important, you know, that they don't have an engine problem early here. It could be a long day if you do, as Kyle brings the mellow yellow car down, and the crew now will change all 4 tires while the car is sitting there, but they're also apparently going to look under the hood. They checked a couple of the hood pins, outside tires. In this case, it's left side tires going up. They pin from left to right here as opposed to right to left they do on most of the ovals. And now they're over the wall, and it will indeed raise the hood on the mellow yellow Pontiac. The good thing about being able to pit here under caution, it takes so long in order to lap under caution, there's really very little chance of losing a lap in the pits. Now the engine crew now working on the left side of the engine, as they're trying to decipher what the problem is in Kyle Petty's car. Bob?
You can see Kyle Petty is back in the pits. Jerry?
And they are not yet looking toward the Oberg filter area. Right now, Bob, their attention is in the engine compartment. A minute ago, he came in, and apart from changing tires, they changed the ignition and the coil, but the problem still continued. The car is missing. They've checked the spark plug wire, so their initial hopes that maybe a wire had vibrated off was not the case. Now John Wilson, the engine builder, and that's him on the far right of the car with the beard and the sunglasses and the blue headset, is looking about possibly a valve spring being broken in the car, which could certainly create a problem for them the rest of the afternoon. Tough break for the defending champion of the Budweiser at the Glen.
Yeah, and we'll never forget the fun we had with him last year at this race, as you see the remains of the Skull Classic driven by Rick Mast after hard contact with the guardrail up in turn number 6. You remember the race was rain shortened last year, and we talked to Kyle, and just as we were talking with him, we got the official word from NASCAR that the race had been officially stopped, and he was the winner, but he wouldn't take John Kernan's word for it. He waited until he got a higher authority, but he was the winner of the race last year, but problems for him here in the early going in 1993. He pulls back out of the pit area onto the racetrack once again to try to salvage what's left of this event, and we got a long way to go with Mark Martin still leading after 10 of 90 laps. And Dr. Jerry Punch is with Kyle Petty.
And Kyle still sitting in the mellow yellow Pontiac. They've asked the drivers to stay in the car, and Kyle's obliged. Kyle, after winning this thing a year ago, you've had a few problems at the beginning here.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem is. It's hard to tell whether it's ignition or whether maybe we've closed up a plug or something. And, you know, man, you're hard on these things. You over-rev them. I probably might have broke a valve spring or something. So it's just one of those days. I'd like to say hello to Stanley Smith and hope he's feeling a whole lot better, but it's just one of those days right now.
Kyle Petty sitting here. The crews cannot work on the cars. A number of cars sitting here in the pits, including the Bojangles Ford Thunderbird of Derek Cope.
There is Bill Elliott and Kyle Petty, and Kyle, after having problems with his car, is running well. And he didn't lose a lap through all of that pit stop activity that he made, so he's being shown in the 15th position. Kyle Petty not too far behind in third. After some problems at the beginning of the race, he has fought back gallantly to be a contender for his second victory in a row here at the Glen. Jerry?
Absolutely incredible, Bob. You know, the engine was skipping early on. They brought it in, changed the spark plugs, changed the coil, changed the ignition. Robin Pemberton told me they lost the ignition box yesterday in the final practice session. He said, whatever we've done, we fixed it. We don't know how, but we fixed it. He said, if this car gets any better, we're not going to be able to stand it. Right now, it's back to 100% and showing it on the racetrack.
And we understand that Kyle Petty will be coming in for a pit stop, Jerry?
That's exactly right, Bob. Everyone has to make one more stop, with the exception of Jeff Bodine, as we've documented. Kyle said, hey, the leaders are pulling away from him, and behind him, Mark Martin is catching him. So he has no choice but to come in and change all 4 tires. And the car number 98 has had problems up at the loop. He's been off the course and now back on. That's Derek Cope in the Bojangle 40 is back on the course. As we are waiting now for Kyle Petty at 35 miles per hour. It looks like it's an eternity to get down pit road, and now Robin Pemberton and the crew are trying to go to work and change all 4 tires. Right side lug nuts coming off. Kyle waving for water in the car. Left side lug nuts being taken off. They're getting the car completely full of fuel. Felix Savada standing over, surveying the action. Now left side tires going on. 1 can of fuel in, 2nd can going in. Kyle puts it back in first gear and pulls away in what would be his final pit stop of the day.
There are 19 laps to go. 71 have been completed, and Kyle Petty now can go the rest of the race.
We're about ready to go back to green flag racing. Now, Rusty Wallace is not leading this race. Kyle Petty is leading the race. Michael Waltrip is up in there. Jeff Bodine, they had made green flag pit stops. They didn't have to stop this time. So Rusty Wallace and all those who made pit stops has got to pass some pretty good cars there. Hut Strickland is among those. So they got some good cars to pass before they can get to the front.
The car that's out front is Joe Nemechek. He is back on the lead lap. The leader is Kyle Petty, then Jeff Bodine, Michael Waltrip, and Hut Strickland. Then we get back to Rusty Wallace. And here comes the pace car off corner number 7, looking for a green flag on lap number 78. And there it is. We're back to racing.
Nemechek accelerates. And by the way, this is the same car that Joe used at New Hampshire. This is an oval track car. They've changed over. Kyle Petty goes by and takes the lead. Meanwhile, it's Jeff Bodine, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, and Earnhardt and Sterling Marlin hung in behind the 27 car of Hut Strickland right now.
10 laps to go in the Bud at the Glen. Kyle Petty has the lead at the moment, looking for his 2nd straight victory here. He started 7th. He's currently 1st, but the most impressive thing, look on lap number 14. He was way back in 35th position after he had some mechanical problems with the car. Needless to say, they have got it fixed. He is in the lead at the moment. And Dale Earnhardt got around Kyle Petty, or rather Rusty Wallace in all of this, and is now 2nd.
Boy, he don't miss a trick, does he?
He sure doesn't. And believe me, he's going to be pushing and gouging, trying to get to the front.
Martin has gained 7 positions in the points in the last 6 races. Is now running in 3rd position. Look at the battle behind him, though, as Wally Dallenbach and
Jimmy Spencer got by him.
Yeah. Oh, and Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty have crashed. Mark Martin is in the lead. This is at the top of the S's.
Yeah, that's going to be a big hit right there, too. Right at the top of the S's. Mark Martin is clear through that. He's in the lead. That'll bring out a caution. Those cars won't be going anywhere.
And Martin may have victory after all.
Unbelievable.
Look at Felix Sabatas. Yeah. All you can do is hang your head and cry. Here is a replay of what happened. Now they're coming up through the S's here.
Kyle gets the car out of shape.
Oh, yeah.
All by himself. He spins Earnhardt. He comes back across, and Earnhardt nails it.
I think Earnhardt thought Kyle was going to spin back across the track, and he made that commitment to go on the outside there, and Kyle stayed out there.
Well,
and another yellow.
You know, there's nowhere to go in there. That's like driving through the inside of a tunnel. If you hit that thing, it's just a ping pong ball bouncing back and forth. Earnhardt looked one way, thought he was going to. You only get one move. You either got to go left or right. Earnhardt said, I'm going this way. It was the wrong way today.
That's where the crash occurred here a few weeks ago, Dorsey, involving Steve Millen.
Yeah, that was
the crowd is going crazy here on the front stretch. They are up and shouting and cheering.
Look at them. They are on their feet cheering as Martin goes by.
You know, there's more flags waving around here. I just saw my siren.
The caution is out, as we said. Kyle Petty is out of the car.
And here comes Earnhardt down in turn 1.
Yeah, he's still running.
He's still running.
Car doesn't look too good, but he's still running. Kyle Petty's car is at the top of the hill, disabled, unable to move.
Well, you can see both the right side tires are blown completely out as he locked that thing down, slid up the hill. It blew it all the way through both the inner liner and the outer, so it'll take a flatbed to get Cal out of there.
Earnhardt has some body damage, and it's rubbing against the tire. They go very slowly through this scene of the crash.
And also they're going slowly, trying to get this race restarted.
Yeah.
So it will not end on a caution flag, trying to slow them down, take all the time they can.
Hey, Dale Jarrett has a passenger.
Yeah,
He's picked up Kyle.
Yeah, I think he picked him up and going to ride him back around to fifth. He's a long way from home, so Dale wasn't going anywhere. And at each of the restarts, I don't think we ever established the fact that Dale had gotten back in the race. He's only been back in there about 15 or 20 laps. Probably nobody cared excepting his mother, Martha, there, smile waving to Ernie Irvin, and his wife, Kelly. And Ernie comes over and gives him a little bit of love tap there. Said, get out of my way, boy. You ought to be riding over there anyway.
Yeah, Dale is back in 33rd position, so he's not going to pick up very many points here, but he is back in the race.
Little friendly rivalry right there.
Yeah.
That was.
Here once again is the incident that has cost Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty potential wins.
Well,
Looks like he got off the... Did he get off the track a little?
He touched that curb, and that's all it takes in there. You're almost wide open. He hit that curb. The car got loose on him, spun around. Nowhere to go for Earnhardt. They get nose to nose, and both cars tore up pretty good there.
Well, Dorsey, you say nowhere to go. Nowhere to go after he made that commitment. You said earlier that you only got just a short period of time to make that commitment, and he made that commitment to go out there on the outside. There's that little love tap. Kyle Petty. You wonder if he was trying to crawl over in there with Ernie.